century, quite a lot has changed. In this modern day and era, a lot of people are having to get their information from where? From their phones, the digital trends. And so they go online and see all kinds of information that is readily available and then consume it. The problem, though, has been the influx of fake news on a lot of our online platforms, and to an extent even the traditional media, because traditional media now also leverages on information on some of these digital platforms, and so it's created a bit of a problem. Now, in comes perhaps the savior of our time, people who try to tap into the noise, all of the things happening, and just summarize it and give us some easy to read and ready to go information. Bloggers. And of course, many would say bloggers are playing a very, very critical role in information dissemination in the country, not just here in Ghana, elsewhere as well. But some of their activities have come under scrutiny in recent time, and there are a number of cases we can allude to if we want to. Perhaps maybe we should do that. We will look into a few of such cases. And so today on Opposing Views, we want to pay a critical attention to the activities of bloggers in the country, and whether or not it's high time we decided to pay a bit more attention to it and to begin to regulate it. Because as a journalist, I've trained as a journalist and I've practiced for all of these years, there are certain things I know I cannot say on air. And there's absolutely no way you can put out certain information without cross-checking, verifying, in fact, triple-checking to be sure that the information you're putting out is accurate. That may not necessarily be the case for all bloggers in the country, and for which reason fake news, some say, is festering the more in a country like Ghana. So, on Opposing Views today, when we return from the break, we'll begin our conversation on blogging in Ghana and whether or not it's high time the Ghana Journalists Association, the National Media Commission, and all the other agencies responsible for the regulation of such things begin to pay closer attention to the activities of blogging. We'll be back.
Yes, guys, it's your girl, Miss Drew, your hostess with the mostest. I'll see you in the next moment.
Are going on in 10 seconds now. Okay, so again, we are glad you've made time to join us for yet another edition of our platforms as well. Our handles on Facebook and Twitter as well as YouTube. The handles are at MX24GH, at MX24GH. Do well to share the link so that someone somewhere can also watch this and understand really what it means to blog and what the job of bloggers entail, what their job entails. I know it's quite a lot, but for a number of us sitting on the outside, we just see them as people who just spread gossip or who are into rumor mongering and the like. But we'll delve into all of that. I'm sure there are better people to help us understand what the job entails. And so without much talking, let me now begin to introduce our guest for today's show. Kojo Sheldon is a content creator. You know him for that very popular thing he does, Yawa of the Day. He's coming up with a lot more interesting content. Just keep your eyes watched on MX24 TV and keep listening in, and you see and hear a lot more interesting things from Mr. Sheldon. He'll be one of our guests on the show today. Also, we have Ame Aldebra, who is a blogger. He's done this for several years. He's joined us on this show a few times already. He's also part of our panelists for today's show. Kobi Che is also a very popular blogger, very, very popular. And funny enough, when I was doing my research before the show, I didn't really come across any issues with Kobi Che, though. So, Kobi, big ups to that. Big ups to you for that. We'll be beginning that conversation in a short while, though. Yemi Baba is a Pan-African and lifestyle publicist and entrepreneur. You've also, for those of you who are very keen on things that happen on social media, you would have seen him on Twitter and Instagram post a lot of things there. Zion Felix is also a very popular blogger now. He does a lot of interviews and causes a lot of controversy oftentimes as well. He will also be joining us, all things being equal. Again, we will have a representative from the National Media Commission. Indeed, Yabodwa Yeboafo will be joining us for this very conversation, as well as Albert Jumfo, who is the organizing secretary for the Ghana Journalists Association, and Amegavi Samuel. He is with tmglive.com. He's a blogger, writer, creative consultant, and PR expert. We have a full house today. Gentlemen, good afternoon, and many thanks for agreeing to join us for this conversation.
Thank you.
Great. Let me first start by apologizing to our viewers as to why we have an all-male panel. It's not the case that we do not want to have a female on the panel. We did try getting a female blogger on the panel, but we were unsuccessful in that attempt. So sincere apologies if it seems as though the panel is skewed towards the males. But with that said, let's begin our conversation. I think I should start with Kobe Che. Kobe, good afternoon. Thanks for joining us again. I was just praising you a short while ago that when I went through a few things and did some researches, I didn't really see any negative thing about you. People suggesting that you may have posted something which is inaccurate and the like and all. So kudos again. But let me begin by asking this. We always hear the term blogging, bloggers, influencers, blah, blah, blah. You're a blogger, I suppose, right? You admit you're a blogger.
Yes.
What does the
yes, I am a blogger.
What does the job of or the work of a blogger entail? What is blogging?
Okay, so basically we are in an era where we are moving to the digital space.
Yeah.
And so blogging basically is about sharing your opinion online.
Okay.
Now, it could be your Facebook platform, it could be your blog website, it could be your Instagram. So we have people who are Insta blogs. So basically what they do, so expect example is Ronnie is everywhere. He has mastered to, push his blog solely on Instagram. So it's about sharing your opinion on almost all the online platforms. So when you ask me, blogger basically is about someone who shares his opinion on all the social media platforms.
I see. And how long have you done this?
Okay, so I just entered my fourth year. So I've been around for, so let's say for 3 years, but I just entered my fourth year. Oh,
okay. Oh, just 4 years. And I think you've done quite well because you've become a very popular person in the past 4 years then. Okay. That's a good thing though. Let me know. So for you, blogging is just about sharing your thoughts or views on issues and not necessarily reporting the facts as they are.
So gone were the days. It used to be about just sharing your opinion, but as generation moves by, as we are moving by, I think the dynamic is changing. Now, bloggers seem to be like the traditional medium where we put up news. I mean, we've seen us, like you mentioned, like Zion Felix interviewing. One of the days we used to see the traditional media, like the TVs, the graphics, conducting interviews. I think that the process, I mean, the generation, all things are being changed. You understand? So bloggers are now leading news. Bloggers are now breaking news. And so one of the days, we used to depend on the traditional medium, like the TVs and the graphics, to bring out news. Then based on what we've read online or based on what we've heard in news, we can share our opinion on that. But these days, things are changing. Now we are breaking news. We are also kind of competing with the journalists. You understand?
Yeah. I get it.
Yes, exactly. Yes. So these days, it's like 50-50. Now, MX24 News will come up with news. Now, one of the things that makes bloggers, our work moves more faster is because we don't go through any scrutiny. Unlike you guys, your editor, your producer, go through a lot of checks before it comes out on TV. But with blogs, it's fast. No, I mean, when I hear that my brother Kojo Sheldon has won an award, there's no need to go and do any challenge fast normally at all. What I say?
Yeah.
Exactly. So I think that things are moving fast, and so bloggers are leading. But when you actually, I think it's 50-50. But bloggers are breaking news more faster than the journalists now.
I see. I agree. I agree with you on that score. Okay, I'll come back to you shortly for a few more comments, though. But Kojo Sheldon, you are not a blogger. You are a content creator. What's the difference between a content creator, a blogger, a journalist, or a content aggregator? What's the difference? What do you do, Kojo Sheldon? And in fact, before you even answer that, congratulations on winning that award with Advanced Media also, being part of those very young and... anyway, you go ahead. Duku Gang.
Yeah, so with what I do, the blogging aspect blogging is an aspect of content creation.
Okay.
And with what I do, I don't want to be boxed and judging. I mean, if you want to quantify the amount of content I put out, or the amount of or the number of pieces of content I put out, then you wouldn't want to put me in the blogging space. You understand? Because I mean, I have a blog, I have a website that I curate content on, and I have a YouTube platform. I do video content. So I do a whole lot of things to be boxed in the blogging space. You understand? So that is why I refer to myself as a content creator. That would make it. I mean, it will put me in a situation where Charlie Brown creating beans. Anyway, so basically what I'm saying is with what I do as compared to the bloggers, I think I do more to be boxed in that space, basically.
I see. Interesting. So, does it come to you as a surprise when persons who say they are bloggers tend to, in their dealings, operate like journalists in some instances?
So, I just go to the communication schools, and it comes with the price of you being tagged as a journalist. Now, if you have a phone, or you can write a content on a blog or on a platform, I don't think you should consider yourself a journalist. Probably you are a creator or you are a curator. But if you want to transcend to that space where you want to see yourself as a journalist,
thank you very much. Good afternoon to everybody.
Great.
Of course, watching and listening to us. My brother, how are you?
Yeah, well. You're well.
What's up? You good? Great.
Right.
How do I get content? For me, I cut across both sides.
Okay.
I've listened to Kobe, to Kojo. I cut across from being a content creator to a blogger to a journalist to everything. Yeah, they jam everything.
So they play all the sides.
Yes.
Okay.
And for me, we get our content through, we get eyes and ears everywhere. So we don't just play I'm a blogger kind of thing, and then because we want the eyeballs and the numbers and anything we just come out with some no. To us, credibility is key. So we have our resource. We have people in different places that when something happens, we make sure we verify. Whether we are blogging or we are doing journalism or anything, for us, our credibility is key to us. So we get people at places. We go to the extent of even paying for news. We make sure we get news credit. Like an example is like during the election in Uganda that just went by.
Yeah.
We have our person in there who she was giving us every detail things we needed to know because we know the Uganda. We couldn't, we were not there, but it still did not stop us from breaking the news as a blogger. But it does not still mean that we should just put it out there anyhow. So we had to, make sure we get it through the right source, and as we get our news, we source for it the right way.
So you are mindful of where you get your content, and you verify that indeed it's authentic information before you put it out there. And perhaps it's because, aside being a blogger, you also double as a journalist, and so you have a bit of training which guides you and gets you to understand the fact that you may have to necessarily cross-check this information before you put it out there, right?
Yeah, but
Okay.
one thing we must clear is whether you are a journalist or a blogger or anything, you need what you're going to do. You know, if you need, yes, and the moral standard of every society is key. You know, so you will not say because you are a blogger, anything that just comes up, then bang, you could just come like that. You know, because out here in this part of our world, let's say Ghana, we are made to believe, or we have made people to believe that bloggers, they are, you know, they can just do anything, post anything, you know, behave any. No, it shouldn't be so.
But is that not the case? Is that not the reality? Because I think I read a while back an issue. They said there was an issue between yourself and Zion Felix because somebody was dating somebody's ex and something, and it was news and it was all over the place. Perhaps because some bloggers had decided to throw it out there.
Well. With the gist you are just saying, it was about, or it's about 3 or more adults who, I don't think Zion came out to say anything on any other person or myself, but it does not mean that whether it happened, it did not happen, it happened. And when adults are involved in issues, they choose to handle it as adults.
No, so I'm not. No. My point is the issue is not so much about what's happened between or amongst the 3 of you. It's about how bloggers felt it necessary to put out such information to the rest of the world and keep pushing it until everybody knew about it.
No, because that was content to them. Anybody fits. You know, it depends on how you get fish. You can have your fish and you want to smoke it before you eat it, or you want to fry it before you eat it, or you want to boil it. So anyhow you get your information and you want to use it, that's fine. Me, I don't get any problem with anybody who won't break news or gist or anything. You know, human beings were involved, adults were involved. So if you, adult or a kid, you also want to put such news and for whatever reason, for traffic, for anything, no problem, you know.
I see. Okay. Kobe, let me ask this though. I want to ask Kobe this very question. Kobe, I don't see of what relevance it is that Zion Felix is dating the ex of Yemi Baba. And so it is news, and so we decide to put it out there. And I don't see the relevance. So why do you people do that? Why do you throw out such things there? And for what? Just for the numbers?
This is quite interesting. I want to check it just outside Zion and Yemi Baba.
Sure. Please do. Yeah, it was just an example I was using. Anyway.
Interesting things. Yes, there are a lot of interesting things that goes out that myself, I chance on and ask myself, is this really relevant? You understand? Like you see two staff, public figures, fighting on social media and using some words that are not good, and you see people blogging it, sharing it. Again, that is their personal blog and they decide what to do. But I think that the world is changing. Generation is coming on. We need to be very careful the things we put out. Me for one, I'm extra careful the content I put out. You understand? Because I need, in as much as that I might not probably be a journalist. You understand? Now, what you, from your preamble, you said that when you hear bloggers or when you hear blogging, it's just about gossiping. But it is. I've done that gossiping and all that. Now, I did my own research on the Western world, how they are blogging. Fine, all these gossips are there. But you notice that 90% are content that, are very intriguing, content that you chance to go like, wow. They are doing research, now they are competing with the journalists. They are competing with the newspapers. They are competing with the TV because it's a serious business.
That's true. Again, I hear a number of you pick.
We need to change the narrative.
Okay.
We need to change the narrative.
Okay.
We shouldn't always. I mean, we can just do a gossip, but that should be like a minor. We should try and project what Ghana is doing. We should try and project certain things that, I mean, the world will see and go like, yo, this person is blogging about this. Things that are very, are very, very important. You understand? Now, everybody is blogging, and anytime every up and coming or young blogger start blogging, it is about going to tarnish someone's image. And that is how we've decorated the word blogging. Now, if someone comes up, I mean, if you go and introduce, there are several cases that I've introduced myself to corporate people. I tell them I'm a blogger. And what comes out from their mouth is that, oh,
exactly.
But that shouldn't be the narrative. You understand? True. We need to put out content that is very significant. We need to change the narrative. We need to change the young ones coming, the generation. Now we're in a digital space, and everything is online, and the internet don't lie. So we need to be very careful the things we put out there. You understand?
Interesting.
So for me, in as much as we are sharing opinion, we need to be a bit credible. So that at least these days, I mean, the blogging space is kind of getting attention. And it should be from the positive direction, not the bad attention. That you go somewhere, you walk into an office, you say you're a blogger, and everyone is coming at you that, yo, I'm even scared. I walked into an office, I said I'm a blogger, and everybody was hiding because they thought I was going to capture something bad happening in the office. Why?
Interesting. So credibility is an issue for bloggers in Ghana. That has been established now, right, on this platform. Okay.
Yes, that's our major problem in Ghana.
Okay. Let me hear from Samuel Amegavi. He's with tmghlive.com. Samuel, you two, what are some of the challenges you face in the discharge of your duties as a blogger? We are told now that, what are the other challenges you personally face also?
For me, the biggest challenge we as bloggers are facing currently is the battle of comparison between bloggers, journalists, the content we put out, how we verify our content, what we are supposed to do, and all those stuff. But when you look at the history of blogging, how blogging started, blogging is purely based on opinion. You get my point? Blogging is purely based on opinion. So this interaction that we are having right now, someone who is a blogger out there, let's say blogger B somewhere, can just watch this and write his opinion. As space started evolving, the internet era started coming, and blogging was fully consumed on the internet space. And that was where the numbers too were coming. Bloggers were then now forced to evolve and then become, people that are now trying to challenge, the mainstream, daily graphic and all this stuff. But, to me, bloggers, should never be put in that category as journalists. And that's the biggest challenge we face now, because the challenge now is bloggers are not doing the necessary research before they put stuff out there. Bloggers are just breaking news that are not necessary. They break fake news, and then later realize that, oh, the news was fake. This happened, this happened. I think as bloggers also, when we see stuff online, before we put it out, let's check. Yeah, we are bloggers. We are creating our own opinion. We are feeding our people. But one or two cross-check before we put it out, we will make everything simple for us.
But again,
other than that, like Kobe and Sheldon said, if care is not taken, we'll be moving the blogging space, which is now getting massive attention around the world.
Sammy, the issue now is that for the digital space, it's a matter of speed. It's about who gets it first.
Yes.
Well, for the traditional media is, speed matters, but also it's about getting it right, not just getting it first, but it's more importantly about getting it right.
Yeah.
I cannot say same for the blogging space and for the digital space and your ability to get the numbers, because for you, how do you get paid? It's about the numbers. The more people consume your products, the more relevance you gain, and the more money you make. Is that the case, right?
Yeah.
Aha.
Yeah.
So how then? Okay, go ahead.
Talking. When we are talking about numbers, the number of people that consume our content determine the money we make. Yes, I get that. Online, internet is all about numbers. Who is breaking it? Who is doing this? Who is getting more interest? For example, when you look at what Kuju Sheldon is doing now, he has come up with the content that everybody looks up to on a daily basis, the hour of the day.
Exactly.
Which is becoming a thing now. You get my point. So he has gradually built a traffic towards that end. So each day, people are expecting to get that. If you look at what some of us do, we write, we post, we do all those things. People follow us because of those things that we do. If you're saying you are chasing traffic, so whatever comes to your table, you put it out there. I mean, a time is going to come. People are not going to develop the interest in the blogging industry in the sense that they would think that whatever bloggers put out there is not the truth. And that is not where we should be aiming to get to. That people, because if corporate Ghana want to work with you, I have had the opportunity to work with some of the major brands myself. And most of the things they tell us is, look, you guys, we trust in you guys. We know that, I mean, you are getting the traffic, you are getting the numbers. But if you can a bit twist some of your news and make it factual, bring the right content out, we have no problem. If you propose us to us, we accept them to work with you guys. But the problem now is, because we are thinking traffic, we are tempted to put everything out there, which is not a good thing, because it means we are not building good image for the ones that are coming. They also come and they will think, oh, blogging is all about this thing. Now, if you could study one thing that is happening within the Ghanaian showbiz industry. Now, if you are online, everybody says Ghanaian music, movie industry, or the showbiz industry is now becoming, instead of showbiz, it's now showbiz. So every day, for a musician to get an attention, he has to beef a colleague musician. Yes, it's good. Beef is part of entertainment. I mean, beef is part of show business. But we have to be careful not to make the industry look like it's a beef-oriented industry. That's where the problem lies.
Interesting. So then you lean towards people who perhaps will suggest that let's find a way to regulate the activities of bloggers so as to make them a bit more credible, because whether we like it or not, you guys have the numbers, or so it appears. You have very huge numbers. I see some numbers, I'm like over 300,000 or 500,000 people following one blogger. Means one post has the potential to reach up to 500,000 people. Now, imagine if that's fake news, if that's unverified information. That is 500,000 people you are misinforming. And so perhaps it makes a bit more sense when we say that let's begin to find a way to regulate activities of bloggers. Would you not agree?
Regulation, I will agree to an extent when we've all agreed that, okay, this time, like I said earlier on, we are going to put out content that we know is the truth. Now, let me use Kojo Sheldon, for example.
Okay.
He likes to classify himself as a content creator. So whatever Kojo brings out there, it is an opinion he's expressing on issues that are happening out there. So if you go to Kojo Sheldon, he will tell you, okay, the thing happened, I've seen it, and I'm expressing my opinion over it. And that is, I mean, in a way, a good way of blogging as well. But I mean, unfortunately, like I said, where there are numbers, people will rush to that side. So we will have the bad nuts and the good nuts all in the same pond.
Interesting. Okay, because you've repeatedly made mention of Kojo Sheldon and his Yawa of the Day. Let me come to Kojo. Kojo, Yawa of the Day has become very popular. You've tried very hard. You've worked so hard to make it very relevant to our times. And so we commend you for that. But again, let me even ask, why Yawa of the Day? Why focus on the Yawa and not all the other positives of the day? Why the Yawa?
Okay, so I know the name, the Yawa of the Day name, gives some impression that I'm talking about Yawa, bad stuff that has happened, you understand? But I think if you have been following me for a very long time, I have used my platform to talk about relevant social topics, you understand? So you see me talking about probably corruption issues, trying to use my platform to
and also supporting certain political candidates and the like.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, so trying to use my platform to get people's attention to things that are happening, like some of the bad things that are happening in governance and all those things. So in as so you know the social algorithm has engineered content consumers to consume more of negative news, you understand? So negative news, they sell on platforms, you understand? That is why you will write an article about, let's say, a DIY on how to probably control your blood pressure and all those things, like you try to create DIY content. It will get low traction, or Shatawale has done this, Shatawale has done that. You put it out there, and the consumption rate, the click-through rate, the consumption rate will balloon to some level that it will bust your mind, you understand?
Yeah.
And that is the issue. The negative news in the space cell, that is why everyone who is coming up as a content creator, as a blogger, is swaying towards that kind of space, you understand? Because they know, say, if they talk about this, that is what the people want. So let us give them. It's about creating content people want. So if the algorithm is dictating to you, or is telling you that the people want to consume more of Shatawale news, the people want to consume more of Ifya Schwarzenegger news, that is what people are going to create.
So you see, that's the thing. So there's a debate about what we think the people want and what the people actually want. So, for instance, if you are not giving them the option.
No. Let me talk.
We're getting something.
Yeah, really. Okay, but you go ahead, Kojo, let's hear you. I think committee also has some comments on that, but let's hear you first.
So, but with what you are saying, you know, some of us work with numbers. We have metrics. You understand? That dictate to us what we should create and what we shouldn't create. Now, if my metrics at the back end is telling me that this story that you did about Shatawale had 15,000 click-through rate, this or 15,000 clicks or 100,000 views. This story that you did about a DIY on how people should live their life and how people should do this and that, the story that you think is supposed to have this kind of positive vibe around, or it's not getting the numbers, you understand? Like you have a lower number of people consuming that kind of content. Obviously, when you are creating the content, you factor in the numbers, because at the end of the day, the numbers is what is going to give you the money. The numbers is what is going to get your platform, the engagement and all those things. So if the people want to consume this kind of content, and the algorithm or the metric is saying, this is the kind of content people are consuming on your platform, why not create it for them?
So the thing is this. So the metric is based on previous things. Now, for instance, maybe you've done certain things for a while, and so people are getting used to that, and that's how come perhaps it's flying so well. If among all of us we decide that we are not going to churn out any Ifya Schwarzenegger fights something, or Shatawale bites somebody, or somebody's mouth is bigger than somebody, or whatever, we all decide we are not going to throw out such a content. The people have no choice than to consume whichever content we have collectively decided to churn out, which may not necessarily be the negative stuff.
My brother.
Or
thank you very much.
It's just my view, though. But Yemi, Baba, you have comments on it. Yemi, let's hear you. You see, that's why in my earlier submission, from the topic we are speaking today, I say yes, bloggers, anyhow they like it, they must be checked. That thing you just said, that your last point. You see, when you are like a kingmaker, you control what you give to your people. Exactly. Fine. What Kojo is saying, beautiful. I love what Kojo is saying. It's people want to, the algorithm is saying this and that. But my dear, we still go on top bloggers in the world. We go on their pages. They have millions of views and things. And when you see the content they are giving, you'll be marveled. Until we in Ghana, we start detecting the kind of things we want to give to our readers, until we start understanding that decorum needs to be in the industry. Why would two artists start beefing if they know that this beef, as they cook them, now them go chop their teeth? No, you will see that. No, it's the truth. Sense and wisdom will start coming in, because it's sad. It's sad. I'm a Nigerian. I'm also an Ivorian. You will be shocked at what some of the people outside Ghana they say. A friend told me the moment you punch in some names in Ghana, you start seeing fighting. You start seeing, but then they keep asking, these artists, don't they have any positive thing? It's only affecting them. And it is because we have given them that
the platform. We think we need the numbers. Yeah, we need the numbers, fine. But I can still tell you that we have a lot of people in this industry, the blogging world, who are churning millions, and they are not giving out, they are applying, cents and everything to it. It's time bloggers in Ghana, we start controlling the pace. We start controlling how we want it to be. Fine. Anybody that wants to use his or our platform, Satawale, anybody's homeboy, Odoshede, Kobite, anybody that wants to use his or our platform to, you can wake up, go nude on your platform. You can wake up, do anything on your platform. It is fine. But once you call yourself a blogger, let's start creating, let's start creating the mindset that people can come in and still get something tangible from our side, your side, and still we can still make money out of it. Like you made mention of the DIY thing or anything on, any topic. You want to tell me that DIY story you make or I will make, it cannot give us thousands or hundreds of dollars, and we'll still make sure we have touched one life? Must it be fighting? Must it be pulling down? Must we want to post nude things? You see, when we create that mindset for people, for the younger ones coming, now so it could be until we change that, mentality.
I see.
Sorry to say, my very good friend, Ameya Debra, is my good brother. I am not, he is one of the biggest in Africa, whether you like it or I like it or not. Ameya is one of the biggest, but he has tried as much as possible to control and put decorum on his kind of blogging. Are we going to say Ameya is not doing well? Does he have to put this is beefing or put a nude or anything? I'm using Ameya because he's one of the biggest. He's from Ghana and he has tried so hard to maintain that pace. So until we start teaching the younger ones coming that decorum must be applied, sense, for our sense, things would be like that.
Kobite, you also had a comment on my banter with Sheldon.
Yeah, I think so. Like I said, I respect Sheldon a lot. I mean, all of us are doing amazing, but I want to support what Yemi was saying. You understand? Because we as content creators, for instance, you have this thing here, and your baby is crying that, Daddy, I want this thing. Daddy, I want this. It is to your own discretion to decide what is good for your baby. True or false? And once you decide that this is good for your daughter or your child or your brother, you give it to him, and he or she takes it.
Okay.
And so it's about time we sit down to change the narrative, to have, to come into a certain agreement that, negative stuff, that's fine. But we can't always say that this is what the viewers or this is what the consumers want. If you go on my timeline and I'm posting something relevant and positive, you go to Sheldon, you go to Yemi, you go to Ameya, you go to TMJ, and all of us are posting content with a different direction, pushing an agenda of positivity. The viewers, the consumers, they have no option than to stick to it. Now, I've been blogging for 3 years, I said, and my viewership, my followers, I'm verified, it's crazy. And I have all the views that all these guys who are doing claim they are doing the negative, and I have views and all that, just like them.
Interesting.
You understand?
Yeah.
So now we shouldn't give the picture that you have to post negative stuff, because probably when you check your analytics, you are getting the feedback that this person, so if your Schwarzenegger fight is giving you the views and all that. When we keep setting that standard, we will keep changing the narrative again. We will keep spreading bad news in our system.
Kobe, let me ask this though. Everything must be based on facts, technically speaking.
Yes.
Hypothetically speaking, some star or celebrity has decided to go sleep with somebody and record themselves, and the video is out. What I know is that once you're putting out information, it has to be factual. Now, if Sheldon, on his Yawa of the day, decides to talk about a trending video of two celebrities. It's all over the place anyway. He decides to report on it accurately. And while doing so, of course, it's negative news, but while doing so, he makes quite a lot of money out of that and gets the numbers. What's wrong? What is crime?
There's nothing wrong with that. Perfect.
No.
There's nothing wrong.
Come, let me hear you. Go ahead. Make your point.
There's no.
Yes. So like Yanni is saying, there's nothing wrong with it. You see, that's why I start from the preamble that blogging is just about sharing your own opinion on certain things. Now, but it should be the direction. Which direction is Sheldon taking? In the video.
Okay.
For instance, I move around to see data with shows and all that. When I post it, perhaps it is not, I'm trying to solve Ghana. I mean, I'm trying to put Ghana in a bad image by posting those videos. But depending on the caption and the write-up that I back to it, I will direct it and share my opinion in a positive way. True or false?
Okay, that's possible. Very true. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. So probably a source of nigger and Tracy Bassett is fighting. So your sharing can be of the day, but depending on the direction Kojo will go, at the end of the day, it is still going positive. You understand? So let's be mindful how we share our opinion on certain things. In as much as that we want to go factual, how you put out the content shouldn't be in a way to tarnish the image of the other or to spread bad rumors from both parties.
I see. Sami, you said you had a comment on this issue. Let's hear you also before I rope in.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
I understand why the blogging industry is now moving towards what is now termed the negative news and content creation around negativity. You know, when we started blogging, or when I started blogging, my blogging style was more of album reviews for artists.
Okay.
So the ones that I've read for my page, like Kobe tells me that all the time, yo, bro, I like your reviews and stuff like that. The problem we're having is that, bro, you sit down, review an album, publish it, the artist will not mind you.
Yeah,
No, like people,
talk about
they
that.
don't even care. People, no, Kobe, let me finish.
About it. Talk about it. Now let's change the see.
Let's change the conversation.
That part.
Let's change the conversation.
I'm not changing the conversation.
No, we are not changing from that part.
We support what you're saying.
We are supporting you. We are supporting you.
Sheldon and Kobe, I think we'll have a session for that one.
It is only in Ghana we see that artists don't understand what we do.
So okay, don't worry. We'll find a day for that. Sheldon, I know you are very particular about this. I don't know whether it's still the issue with Sarkodie or Co, but we'll deal with it at another forum. But let's finish with this one.
I know why I'm saying that, because I love writing. I love writing. Like, I can sit down the whole day expressing my opinion on an album based on how I perceive the album after listening to it. And you know,
They don't appreciate so you
just come. No, oh, Kobe, you know I'm just I just took a break. So you know, people like Kobe knew me based on reviews, or am I lying? Based on article writing. I mean, that was what I used to do. But the problem is, my brother, you spend all this time, energy reviewing the album. You publish it. Artists need in even like Omao. But let me tell you, go and write that. Let me use the popular ones. Excuse my language. Escalate Queen. Publish that one and see.
He himself reviewing where he said it.
Will screenshot it and then post it on his page, insulting you, forgetting that insult is driving traffic to you.
Thank you. Okay.
Interesting.
Forgetting that insult is driving traffic to you.
Sheldon, let's hear you.
Reviewed your album. Hours of review of your album. Instead of you to post that one and say, what a blogger. See what he has done on the album. I like the expression.
Okay.
They will never do that.
Okay.
You review singles, you review videos, you review a lot of things, they will not mind you. But publish the negative things. They will post it across all their social media.
Then it buttresses Sheldon's point.
Let me talk.
It buttresses Sheldon's point. Sheldon, let's hear you.
So you see what I was saying.
Yes.
When I started my submission, said We create content people want. We give what they want. Now, listen, it's not like we use our platform for only negativity. When you come to my platform, I have dedicated about 50% of the platform promoting emerging artists, giving them platform, posting their music video, reviewing them.
Yeah, the breakdown.
On several occasions, I have put out content trying to help emerging artists, trying to help mainstream artists. They don't care. They don't want to hear anything about it. Recently, let me put this Shatawale Samini beef. Shatawale and Samini started a beef, and they've been going back and forth.
They've been throwing jabs at each other in songs. Yes.
Shatawale has blocked me on Twitter, but because I am supporting the beef and creating content around it, he tweeted and mentioned my name that he wants more violence. You understand? Now, if you want violence, what do you want me to put on my platform? The gospel according to Jesus Christ? No, I think what the audience wants. And that's why I'm saying, when we create the content and you people don't want to share it, you go to your platform and you share the content, you create like a positive content. People will come and comment, non-fact, this and this. They pass degrading comment about content that you have sat down to create. They want the fast food content. So, in as much as we should try to create content that is going to change the narrative and all, it is not solely dependent on us to do everything. The consumption patterns of what people consume on social platforms, their preferences must also change towards the positive things if they want it.
All right,
if I create a content for an artist, a positive content for an artist, and he's not going to share, and he's going to share the negative, why shouldn't I create more negative?
Okay, let me hear. So we don't deviate so much from why we are here today. We want to find out whether or not perhaps the activities of bloggers need to be regulated, particularly in such an era. Debra is one of such bloggers we've engaged to give us some thoughts on this. Let's take a listen to Debra in just about a minute or so. Let's hear his thoughts also. And then perhaps I can begin to ask our colleagues a few questions. We are just about wrapping up. I want to find out something pretty shortly. But let's hear Debra first.
Blogging is very different from journalism. And so I don't think we should hold them accountable based on standards of journalism, because principally what makes blogging exciting is the ability for somebody to express themselves freely and in a manner of sharing opinions, views by any kind of standard. Then what they are set up to do will not thrive the way it's supposed to. But then that said, especially now that in Ghana, blogging is a certain way or certain types of things are considered as blogging. It's important that those who do it in the confines of what is acceptable, what is proper. They shouldn't just damage people because they have the tools and the platform to do so. And when they do something that offends people in the form of defamation or anything else, in that maligning way, I think people affected should take it on, just like they would take on any journalist who publishes falsehoods about them and address it. So I'm for that in terms of punitive measures, which of course affect every form of publishing, more than saying that it should belong to a body and it should be controlled, because if that happens, then it loses the essence of what blogging is supposed to be.
All right, that's interesting. It doesn't seem to think that we should find a way to regulate the activities of bloggers, whether or not that's a point all of us share. It's another thing. Let me ask this though, Kobe. Do you people belong to any association? Do we have, say, a bloggers association? I know you guys gel or connect on your own level, you vibe and everything, but I want to know whether there's a, apart from you people being on WhatsApp groups, do you have an association, sort of?
No. So I was coming to that. I think that was going to be my last submission. And
okay.
I'm glad you asked that. We don't have that. Few months ago, Konkonsa called me, JH Kweku, and few others. Stuff like that, so that we'll be able to regulate stuff among ourselves. You understand? In that way, in that way, when there's any negative or if there's any bad content out there and people are talking, you can come and say that this person is not part of the association.
Mm-hmm.
I drove from my house. I drove from my house to. Hello.
Yes, I'm listening. Yeah, your video is off though.
Yeah,
but,
we can hear you.
But we can hear you. Yeah, it's back
Yeah,
now.
so I drove from my house to Foresight Mansion where we had a meeting, and I was particular about it. I was so happy because I felt that we need to have an association.
Mm-hmm.
We need to have the union so that when one is messing up, collectively, we can all come together. If something is going wrong, collectively, we can say that, guys, let's push an agenda. And you know, one of the interesting things is that if we are together, we are even going to